A very warm good morning, class 10, and welcome to your political science class. So, students, we were doing the chapter Outcomes of Democracy, which is also the last chapter from your political science textbook for the session 2020-21. And to recall whatever we have done so far, I am making this video so that you all can understand and you all can revisit all the topics which we have already finished from this chapter. So let us see what we have done so far. So we began this chapter by trying to assess the outcomes of democracy. We tried to understand that why is democracy said to be the best form of government instead of the others? What is so special about democracy? Just because we feel that democracy is good, it is being followed in most of the countries, does this make democracy so desirable? Well, actually, to be honest, democracy sets a platform for all of us. It gives us certain opportunities. It gives the citizens the opportunities, the rights through which we are supposed to develop. And it's up to us how we use those platforms, which is given to us by a democratic government. So just for the sake of saying, and just because we see that people everywhere are following democracy or countries everywhere is following democracy, it does not mean that democracy is the best. Democracy is the best because of so many reasons, isn't it? First of all, it promotes equality among citizens. Then it enhances the dignity of the individuals. It improves the quality of decision making. It provides a method to resolve conflict. And finally, it is the only government which allows room to correct the mistakes which are being done. So students, because of all these reasons, we find democracy to be the best. And of course, democracy provides us so many platforms to enrich ourselves. That is why it's up to us how well we use all the things given to us by democracy, all the opportunities given to us by democracy. So next, we discussed about the topic accountable, responsive, and legitimate government. So students, you must be thinking, how does democracy produces an accountable, responsive, and legitimate government? Why is it termed with these terms? Well, democracy produces an accountable government because it provides regular, free, and fair elections. There are open discussions which are held on all the major issues and legislations. It gives the citizens the right to information about the government and also its functioning. Again, democracy provides a responsive government, and it does so because it is formed by the elected representatives of the people, that means the citizens of the country. And these representatives, they discuss the problems of the society, they make the policies and programs according to the need of the public, according to the need of the citizens. And at the same time, the representatives also ensure that all the programs which are implemented, they are done in a proper manner, keeping in mind the demands and the aspirations of the citizens. And finally, democracies are legitimate government. It is so because not only is it constituted by the people, but also because it follows a constitution. So that is why we say that democracies are legitimate. And the laws of the country, which are given to us by the constitution, is equal and applicable to everyone. Also, as already said before, free and fair elections are held in democracies, and the people here have the power to eliminate parties they are not happy with in the next elections. So definitely, keeping in mind all these reasons, we can very well say that a democratic government is accountable, it is responsive, and also it is legitimate. So moving on to the next topic, we came to understand about economic growth and development. So remember students, economic development depends on several factors. They may be the country's population, the size, the global situation, cooperation from other countries, economic priorities adopted by the country, etc. And there is a significant difference in the rate of economic growth between the countries under dictatorship and democracy. So that is why democracy is preferred, as it has several positive outcomes. So now, what are the economic outcomes of democracy? So I'll be sharing with you some points after which you will be able to analyze the relationship of democracy with economic growth and economic inequalities. So if you compare dictatorial regions and the democratic regions, you will find that the dictatorial regimes, they have had a slightly better record of economic growth. But when we compare their record only in poor countries, there is a virtually no difference. Again, there can be a very high degree of inequalities within democracies itself. And also, there is often inequality of opportunities available to the poorer sections of the society in a democratic country. So these are the various economic outcomes of a democracy. Next, we try to discuss about the reduction of inequality and poverty, which we have discussed during our live class the last week, isn't it? So there I told you that all individuals have got equal weight in electing representatives in a democracy. And in the process of bringing individuals into the political arena on an equal footing, we find growing economic inequalities. For example, in what way? A small number of ultra-rich enjoy a highly disproportionate share of wealth and income. Their share in the total income of the country has been increasing year by year. But those at the bottom strata of the society, they have very less to depend upon, and their incomes have been declining as well. So in actual life, democracies do not appear to be very successful in reducing economic inequalities. But nevertheless, keeping in mind the other things, we cannot say that democracy is a bad form of government. It is definitely a very good form of government and very good alternative of a lot of other, political practices. So today, students, this brings us to move on to the next part of our discussion, and that topic is accommodation of social diversity. So students, no society can fully and permanently resolve conflict among different groups. But we can learn to respect these differences, and we can evolve certain mechanisms to negotiate the differences. Democracy is best suited to produce this outcome. This outcome means the process through which the variations are brought together, by the system of accommodation. So democracy is best suited to produce this outcome, and the ability to handle social differences, social divisions and conflict, it is a plus point about democratic regimes. But of course, when we talk about democratic regimes and we talk about the fulfillment of the outcome of, democracy in accommodating people, there it should fulfill two conditions. So what are the two conditions? First of all, the majority always needs to work with the minority so that the government functions to represent the general view. Now, if you remember, we discussed about the example of Sri Lanka during our very first classes. So there we saw that in Sri Lanka, the majority people or the majority community, the Sinhalas, they were not willing to cope up with the minorities. They were not willing to give them any recognition, to give them any right, especially at par with the Sinhalas. So this is not how a democracy works. So in a democracy, the majority and the minority government has to function together, just like it happened in Belgium, isn't it? So democracy, in order to fulfill its outcome of accommodation, of solving conflicts, it should always ensure that the majority and the minority are very much in the same route. Okay. Next, rule by majority means that in case of every decision or in case of every election, different persons and groups may and can form a majority. So when we talk about majority in a democracy, then it does not mean the majority community. But here, majority might mean the majority of votes, the majority of support that a political party or a member of any political party gets. Isn't it? So students, these are the two exceptions. These are the two ways or the two conditions in which democracy can handle social differences, they can handle social diversities, divisions and conflicts. No other regimes apart from a democratic government has the power, not the power actually, but the ability to fulfill this situation or this outcome. But of course, as I told you, remember the two conditions. First of all, the majority always need to work with the minority so that the government functions to represent the general view. And secondly, when we say rule by majority, it means that in case of every decision or in case of every election, different persons and groups may and can form a majority. Majority all the time does not mean only uh, a majority of community or the majority of somebody speaking a common language or something like that. It shouldn't be like the way that was practiced in Sri Lanka. Rather, it should be like a way that was practiced in Belgium to accommodate everybody. All right. So, students, I hope that this short discussion today about accommodation of social diversity and all the revisiting of the previous topics is clear to you. So, we are left with only the last topic from the chapter, which is dignity and freedom of the citizens. And this topic I keep for our next class because it'll be too quick to complete our chapter, isn't it? So next class when we meet, we will finish the chapter as a whole, we will discuss the question answers, and then we will revisit all the previous chapters which we have done so far, starting from the first chapter till this chapter. Okay, so students, that's all for today. Your homework is assigned to you in Google Classroom. So kindly, after watching the video, just go through your Google Classroom. There you will find your homework for the day. Kindly write down the answer to the question that is given, and then you can attach your homework in the PDF format along with the, not along with the, but within the framework of the assignment which is assigned to you. Okay, so that's all, dear students. Kindly go through all the pages of the textbook, especially of this chapter. And if you have any doubt, I'm always there to help you out. We can discuss about the things that you have doubt about. And again, we will meet next in the next week. I will be sharing some written work with you for the next class, which is also supposed to be our live class, but I will not be able to carry on with the class tomorrow because I have got certain works to do, certain things to accomplish, because of which perhaps I will not be able to take your live class tomorrow. So students, for tomorrow, I will assign you some written work, but that you can see only during your class hours tomorrow. And for today, complete the answer of the question that is given to you in Google Classroom. So thank you, students. I hope you all understood whatever has been taught to you today. And also don't forget to go and visit Google Classroom for your assignments today. Thank you so much and have a very good day.